Hi everyone, my name is Ralph Bonner.
Bonner.
We are going to be talking about the last 2 episodes of The Flash.
Season 7, episode 13 of The Flash, Masquerade. And if I recall correctly, the mask that they showed, didn't they show a snippet of that person putting on their mask in a prison riot in one of the crisis event, in one of the crossover events? I think Oliver and Dig had to break out of a prison or something, and they did that cool like tracking shot of like fighting on all the floors.
I know Danielle Panabaker directed that episode too. I thought
she did?
She only directed the episode with Cisco, but I guess she didn't direct the one with Cisco.
Oh, okay. Well, good for her.
No. I'm still kind of sad that Cisco's gone.
We should watch Time Lapse again. Is that what it was called?
I tell you, I Google and read the synopsis of that film like once a month.
Oh, really?
Maybe not once a month. Maybe like every couple of maybe like every couple months, because I always think about that. I think about that entire movie all the time. And how
it was an interesting story.
Stayed up one night and just watched it, and how like it was just so good, and it was
so good.
It didn't make it. You don't realize how much like it just like when you watch something so like new like that, it takes a minute to like get in there, because you're like, dang, like that's a really good story.
So on this episode, we got to explore what was going on with Miss Cecile. There was also a little bit of story going on with Joe doing some detective work, which was awesome. I hope that that's something they continue doing, is Joe like as a detective, working for himself now, as I like that aspect.
Oh, like, is he like a private eye or something now? He'd be like how Ralph was a private eye?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he is right now, and that's probably something they would have explored, if Ralph was still there. So I don't know, they'll probably just have Joe maybe do it on his own.
Yeah,
and I hope that they do, because as Joe always says, he's always listening to his gut, and he's got a good gut instinct about most things. This story was actually predominantly about Cecile and her past, and she was also, what is it, mindscaped? Is that the word that they use? This was interesting. It was different. And obviously it was not somebody in the immediate Team Flash. It was Cecile. And in doing so, it gave us the opportunity to explore her history a bit more.
Yeah, that's true. Because we don't really know much about her history.
Yeah, we really don't. We really don't know much about Cecile.
That stuff like bits and pieces though.
Yeah. She asks Barry to come by her office to review a case. So I think that was obviously, what was that character's name? The evil character.
Psycho Pirate.
I think I wrote that down. I did write it down. Sorry, I didn't read it.
Psycho Pirate in the comics looks kind of cool.
So Psycho Pirate, to me, it seemed like Psycho Pirate.
Oh wait, from Elseworld.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
There's Elseworld.
That's the prison. There's a prison riot. They have to go like either break somebody out of prison, or they have to get Oliver out of prison. And Dig is there, and they're doing a tracking shot through the whole prison while they're fighting everybody. And at one point, you see this guy put on a gold mask and like, go off the camera or something. I'm pretty sure it was Elseworlds or one of the crossover events. Psycho Pirate then does whammies. There we go. Whammies Barry. And I was like, okay, that makes sense, because they want to get rid of probably the strongest person on the team, so that whoever is inhabiting Cecile can go after whatever it's really after.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I was a little confused in that. Is the pirate giving the entity within Cecile power, or did the mask seek out Cecile?
Mask.
The mask?
Her power. That's why he locked her brain.
No, but did the mask because the power comes from the mask, right? So did the mask itself reach out to find Cecile so that Cecile could come and free it and it could take over Cecile's body, right? That's what it sounds like. So it was kind of like the mask with Jim Carrey, but not fun. I like this episode because it was very familiar feeling of getting a promotion or getting to the next level at your job, or even just showing up at a new job and you fail your first day or first time out on your own. Like your training's done, you've been signed off on everything, and then you just fail. And everybody has experienced that. And that's what happened with Chester. He sort of failed his first mission. You know, things were overlooked, and as he said, the mask was able to use his insecurities about taking over the new job against him. And unfortunately, it didn't help out that Sue was there and kind of ragging on Chester either. Was this the same episode with Barry and Iris at the beginning in the archives?
Yeah.
Okay. That was a cute one. I think so. Because I wrote down Barry and Iris, love of the century.
It is the love of the century. They are cute.
Barry and Iris are the love of the century. They are the Gemma and Fitz of this universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sue was there. So Sue shows up, seen Ralph. She is without Ralph. That was cool, I guess. I thought she was a little harsh on Chester, but obviously it wasn't personal. I think it's just she's a character that's probably not used to working with a team because she's kind of been on her own for so many years, and now I guess she's on the run with Ralph. And even so, with Ralph, it's still only one other person that she has to deal with, and they seem to more or less be on the same page about things. So I think that was kind of a learning point for both Sue and Chester. Chester to have more faith in himself, and Sue to learn how to work with people again, to become a team member again. Mm-hmm. So the meat of this episode was dealing with, as I said, Cecile and her past. So we find Cecile whammied in a mindscape. And in this mindscape, she's in a white padded room. And when Barry gets whammied, he ends up in the exact same room with Cecile, luckily.
Yeah.
He said that the lightning storm was 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
2 weeks had passed and Cecile had not been in her own mind, her own body with her husband or with her newborn daughter or even with her, her oldest daughter, even at work. That must have been so...
She has another daughter.
Huh?
Let's forget she has another daughter.
Oh, yeah. And that must have been really hard for her to be trapped in this place and not be able to get out and to be away from your family and also not, figure out how to call for help. When Barry gets to her, she's like completely shocked. She doesn't know whether or not he's real or he's an hallucination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this season. I think the thing that, like I said, I've always complained about, like right now, is like I binge watched the first 6 seasons. So now, like waiting a week, I'm just like, ugh, bro, like get to the good. I'm interested to see what is really happening with Kramer. I want to know like more about that. And I totally forgot she was on like 4 or 5 episodes of Arrow season 4, but she's a completely different character, and I'm pretty sure she died.
Oh, okay. I have trusted Kramer not since day one, but I've trusted her for a while. Before the Frost trial, I've trusted her for a while, so I'm glad to see that her and Joe are on the same page.
I just hope it isn't like for shit, like she isn't like using him or trying to get on her good side, trying to get on his good side so she can like betray him. Let's see, Psycho. I mean, it was a good thing we got to see, what happened with Cecile with, before the Psycho Pirate, took a hold of her. Like, it was nice to see something different happen in her life. Like I said, we both she doesn't have much.
I think it was we got to see a little bit of vulnerability from her because we've seen her be scared and stuff, but it's been for things that are more happening recently, and we don't know what level of.
She does a good job when she's scared, though.
Huh?
She does a really good job when she's scared. She's a really good actress.
Oh yeah, yeah.
When those scenes come up, and yeah, good episode. It was so similar. Like when he mentioned being trapped in God's mind, it was like a similar episode where they just have to work together and overcome the thing. It's
And
always the same thing.
yeah, and with Cecile, it's like it's weird that it's something that she never. Actually, it's not weird. I found it interesting that it was something that she never mentioned to Barry, and Barry doesn't always talk about his mother, but it's brought up enough that it seems like it would have been a conversation that they would have had at some point. Yeah. And so
I don't think you can make it through like 2 or 3 episodes without Barry saying my mother.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, it was under those circumstances, but it's nice that we were able to peel back a layer from her, and she was able to open herself up to Barry first in that situation, and she was able to tell Barry first. And I feel like for me, that's not that anybody could ever replace his mother, but I feel like that was a huge step towards Cecile becoming more of a mother figure towards Barry. Because I mean, at this point, she's more or less his adopted mom, right? Or stepmom, I don't know.
Well, they never got married, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Cecile never got married.
Yeah, but just like that dynamic and that relationship, and I think having someone who can not be his mom and not try to be his mom, but have that maternal instinct when it comes to him is something that will help to heal Barry. Because we can't really say for sure whether or not he's healed from that incident, and that's not something that you could probably ever properly heal from, but it can help to mend it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I was missing Wally West again, and I'm going to mention it as often as I have to.
I want Wally back so bad.
Bring us Wally, please. I need to see his sweet face.
So sweet.
Yeah.
He's the sweetest.
Yeah.
Bring me the flags.
I did love seeing Iris consoling Chester and Iris being a killer, which was awesome. Because she definitely showed up in that warehouse ready to like blast evil.
Over the last like 7 years, Iris is probably like she has no fear.
So yeah, I think I already talked about the self-doubt that Chester was experiencing, and it's natural, but he has to have that confidence in himself. And I like that Iris was able to, talk to him and console him and give him that extra boost. Cecile had to walk around with that pain of losing her mother and how she had buried it all the way down, down, down. And I think this was also an episode sort of speaking to the mental health, especially coming back from the pandemic and the number of people who, did not necessarily have, who actually just did not have a good experience during the pandemic. This episode kind of speaks to burying pain versus reaching out, and the better option would be to reach out rather than to suffer all alone, because you don't have to suffer alone. So that's your PSA for the week. Call your friends, see how they're doing. Just call someone and say hey. Barry and Caitlin and Iris, and even before Cisco left, like you can just tell everybody has grown up so much. How do you feel about Barry, Caitlin, and Iris? Do you feel like they've grown up a lot especially since last season?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think I need more Caitlin, I think, because I don't really think she's been doing anything, but I know she directed this past episode, so of course, like she probably didn't want to like have lines and direct at the same time. But I definitely I like her character. I feel like she hasn't been
present.
She hasn't had like much of a story herself in a really long time. Like not Killer Frost, Caitlyn. Like Caitlyn hasn't had a story. Because since she became Killer Frost, the most of the story is where's Killer Frost? Like where is she going to jail? Like did she kill anybody? Because I think that's this is where writing was going at the moment. And that happened, obviously season 3 with Savitar, pretty much she got powers and then joined Savitar. Oh yeah, and then season 4 was when she was like, "I've done so many terrible things," and then she ran away, and then DeVoe, and then 5 was just what happened to her in season 5? Anything?
Season 5 is when they're trying to help.
Interesting happened to her in season 5. Oh, was that when her? Oh no, that was season 6, right?
Season 5 is when baby Nora shows up.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about Killer Frost.
I know. I'm trying to think. You know what's crazy is that I'm watching the season right now, and I haven't been watching it consistently, so I don't know. Oh, right, because she's the only one who can actually hold her own for a little while against Cicada because she doesn't have she's not affected by the dagger, because it turns out she was always that way and she's not actually a meta. But I don't know what Caitlyn's doing. I think they're still just flipping back and forth. They don't split up until last season, right? Until 6, or was it the beginning of this season?
I think it was beginning of 7.
I think you're right. I think it was the beginning of the season.
And then season 6 was when she let Killer Frost like take over, so Killer Frost could start living a life.
Yeah. Oh well. Anywho, what we're really trying to say is we want to see more Caitlyn.
Yeah, I want to see more Caitlyn. I love you.
I want to see more Caitlyn. After we find out that story about Cecile and she finally gets back to the real world, and she sits down to have her talk with Joe and tell him what's going on. And we actually got to hear the conversation, and it made me think of Captain America and Bucky, because they cut away from that conversation when Bucky was telling was it Nakajima about his son. And it was one of those conversations that I wanted to hear. For me personally, I don't know about you, but it was a conversation I wanted to hear. Oh, we already mentioned it, where I'm glad Kramer is not the enemy. When they said she was the only one that came out of that ambush, you know who I was thinking about, right?
Typhoid Mary. Wait, am I wrong or right?
You're wrong, but that was a good choice. Melinda May, Cavalry.
I need more Melinda May in my life.
Can I just say that season 2 of Iron Fist was so freaking good?
Yeah.
It was so good. Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Masquerade is definitely one of my favorite episodes this season. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And I hope we do get to see more growth between Cecile and Barry. But I think if anything, she could just be a good friend to him, a good sounding board. All right, so episode 14 was called, what was it called? Remember you asked me the title?
Because I wouldn't stop looking.
You asked me the title, remember?
Huh?
You remember you asked me the title?
Uh-uh.
Episode 14 was called Rayo de Luz. Rayo de Luz.
Yeah, that pissed me off because I should know the answer to that.
Right.
Because it's a zephyr in the sky.
So on this episode, it was, I wrote this down. We got to see a little bit more about what happened with Kramer and why everything from her file had been redacted. And Officer Craig was the one that told her to abandon the mission, and they met with each other off-site, and she did not listen to him. And so she went on this mission and lost her entire team. We got to hang out with Allegra and Esperanza so that they could try to, so that Allegra could try to fix the bond that was broken between her and her cousin.
Yeah.
And her cousin was on a mission from God to take down the man that gave her her powers, but also took away her voice. So he tortured this girl. He tortured Esperanza, aka Ultraviolet, gave her the powers for which we call her Ultraviolet, and took away her voice, took out her vocal cords, her voice box, so that she couldn't scream in pain while he was doing what he was doing to her. That is horrible. Sue comes back to help the team again this episode, and she's helping Allegra to catch her cousin. And keep in mind, Sue has been on the run with Ralph this whole time, helping to take down the rest of Black Hole, right? So therefore, she has battled Ultraviolet many a time, I suppose. Do you think Allegra was in a tougher position than she needed to be because her own teammate was against her idea of trying to save her cousin? Do you think it would have been easier? Do you think it would have been
like if Sue wanted to save Esperanza, then Allegra wouldn't have had to have the confliction between her because she wanted to save her cousin. Mm-hmm. But you know, everyone is speaking from a point of view where Sue tried to save her family and she couldn't. And then Allegra was, I tried to save my family, but I couldn't either, but I'm not. So do you think,
oh, go ahead.
It's just a difference in you know, where they fell in their paths. Mm-hmm. So, but because you know, Sue kept trying to talk Allegra out of it, but Allegra kept doing it because you know it's her cousin. So, but just her inspiration led to try to fix her family because she had given up. So there's just, like I said, it's just where people are on their own paths. So, and Allegra even said it. You know, she was in juvie, and then you know they gave her a job, and she was about to go to Iron Heights, wasn't she? Mm-hmm. Everyone has a checkered past, I guess. So and those senses, even Sue should be in prison, right?
That's what I was asking you before. Wasn't she framed for the murder of Carver?
I knew she was framed, but I think she got cleared. Okay. And when What's Her Face came out, but like, wasn't she doing weird stuff before that though?
I mean, I think she was living a life of like cat burglary, right?
Cat burglary. Yeah. She was a cat, and she was burgling.
So, do you think Sue gave up too early on her family? Or do you think she tried her hardest the first time, or do you think she went as far as she was willing to go to save her family? Because I think there is a difference there, right?
Well, of course. Everyone. I mean, it depends. I guess that's like a conversation that you can have with like an individual person,
right?
Like if you were addicted to crack, I would like do everything to keep you from being addicted to crack. But if you were just like telling me, I'm going to keep doing crack regardless, I would legit probably beat the hell out of you until you stop using crack. But see, that's where I fall in my relationship with you because we're sisters, we're family, we're super close. So Esperanza and Allegra, they probably have the same, they were similar in age. They thought they were probably sisters. Mm-hmm. And then they were both in juvie together. And of course, weren't they in a gang?
I think so, yeah.
The same tattoo.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm Allegra because I'm the good one. You're Esperanza. Because all I want in life is for you to become a murderer wearing nothing but black. Also, so do you think, I was going to call her Lucy. Who's Lucy? Do you think Caitlin is going to be able to give her voice back?
I hope so. I hope it's not like some weird, like digitized thing, but I hope it's, I mean, it probably will be some sort of digitized thing, but it will involve some sort of.
Well, can Caitlin perform surgery?
Yeah. I think Caitlin's a full-blown, like, PhD, like, something. She's a biologist, biochemist. I think she was bio and Cisco was tech, like, Gemini fits. Is Frost free, or did she, or no, he said it. He actually said it this time, and I call him Deacon Frost. Anywho, he said it this time.
Yeah, Deacon Frost sounds way better than Chillblain.
It is. So he cut a deal so he could get out, which is what she did, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But it depends. Like, what is he up to? Is he like doing criminal activity, or is he actually trying to be a good guy? Because she caught him under the assumption that he had broken out of prison. Do you think he broke out so that he could be with her?
I'm not sure. Maybe. Or maybe he just wanted to do it so he could start doing some more debauchery and not get in trouble.
Well, I think this was a very important episode in the growth of the character of Allegra and what she's going to offer. The best thing that we got to see was the fight going down in the warehouse when she went to go save her cousin. And then her and her cousin had to fight each other. First of all, the fight with Sue and the guards is pretty cool. And then the fight with Allegra and her cousin. And they were fighting each other and they're using their powers. And then Allegra goes binary. So she's officially donning the name Wavelength. She lit up all pretty colors from head to toe. It was lovely. Or I think from neck to toe. And her power is love, not hate. Because that's the power of love.
It reminds me of that episode the scene of Justice League when he was like, how are you gonna do that? He's like, with the power of love. and he was just like, wasn't it Ben? Or no, was it Ben or was it Ray? He was just like, Barry.
Was that Zack Snyder's Justice League or
there was no other one. There's only one.
There's only
Zack Snyder's Justice League that was released this year
in March. And hopefully one day in IMAX so that I can watch it on a big screen the way he intended.
You know, it's so funny. I put it on, Alex hasn't seen it. So he kept like peeling over. And he was just like, there is a lot of slow-mo in this.
Word.
I'm sorry. Right, it's so funny because I couldn't stop thinking about I can hear the music, but I can't like hear it. But then when I watch it, I just couldn't stop.
Yeah.
It literally, I could not stop thinking about the music that they used for Tropic Thunder when he was doing the. You're my brother. You're my brother.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess this is flash news. You should all be aware by now because we're both posting these we're posting this video hella late. But Grant Gustin is set to appear in the DCEU's Flash movie starring Ezra Miller.
And you know who else is in that movie?
Ben Affleck.
Michael Keaton.
Ray Fisher.
Kirstie Clemens.
And Ray Fisher. You have anything else you want to say?
No, just like I said, I just wish like I could watch like all of the Flash at once instead of like week to week. And especially when you watch it on the CW app, you have to have the commercials. So it's just like,
you know what's crazy is that we're not that young that we don't remember watching just standard cable, but like I think we've been watching like commercial less. We've been watching commercial less TV for a lot less than we've been watching commercial TV, but we're already spoiled by it. Mm-hmm. We're already spoiled by it. And
the same thing happened to me too when I was watching, because in like 2010, when someone had mentioned to watch, How I Met Your Mother, I wouldn't watch all of it. I wasn't doing anything around that time. So when season 7 was out, it was out, but it was, I had to like go to CBS.com and like try to watch the episode. And I'm just like, this sucks because it was let it buffer.
Yeah.
Just like all that nonsense. And of course, in the mix of the buffering, there were still commercials. So I just think like be completely involved in the story. Like you need no interruptions. I just wish I would have gotten. I just I was like I said, I was sure next season's gonna be the last one, the last season.
So,
Um, but it looks like if they're stopping at 18 episodes, it looks like Art and Nora show up on the very last episode.
yeah. I thought they were going to show up on 17, but maybe it's 18.
Well, 18 is number 150.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the episode before that.
Let me make
So,
sure I'm not insane.
so if
Okay, no, I'm a liar. I'm a liar. You're right. Episode 17 is 150.
do you think what we're going to see in 17 and 18 will completely close out the season, or do you think what we're saying will be the like the prelude to what we're going to see in season 8? Because we've got it's going to be his blood family, it's going to be his Speed Force family, and then Iris might legit be pregnant by the end of the season.
You know, we should totally do that. You know, but like now all I'm thinking about would be for the very last season is to have Blue Cobalt and to have him be Eddie. And I wonder if that would be what the whole season 8's about, like Art, Nora going after Eddie. What do you think?
I don't know. When you said Eddie just now, I could hear Venom in my head saying Eddie.
Eddie.
We're just having fun here.
The guy was Eddie Kaufman. He was originally supposed to play Jay Garrick.
What?
He was originally supposed to play Jay Garrick, but they gave him Eddie Thawne instead. Wow. Okay.
Let me simmer on this. Jay Garrick from Another Earth. Okay. Okay. Whew, I was thinking to myself.
That would have been such a such a like a mind freak though. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Like season 2, remember Jay was in the little cave with Man in the Iron Mask.
Yeah.
If he would have taken the iron mask off and it was Eddie instead of his recently deceased father, that would have been crazier.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just really want Matt Lesher to come back and be Eobard. I don't like want Tom Cavanaugh to keep being Eobard on. And it's like I get it in like season 5. Season 5 when he came up in like the end, when they all like fought together.
I love that moment.
That was a really good scene.
I like when he steps back into himself.
Yeah. He's, you know, a monster. The best, the best. Do you remember season 1 when you were just like
it's so cheesy.
But it's so good.
Yeah, it's so cheesy, but so good. I am a sucker for well, I mean, I mentioned this before because I talked about the fight in the Speed Force with Speed Force Nora and how it looked like Spawn. But I just like the CGI that they use on the show, period. I liked when they I like the fight between Barry and Barry when Barry had to run back in time to when I think he ran back in time to when they were catching the Pied Piper. And he had that fight between him, what
Did you say Piper?
Yeah, the Piper, the Pied Piper.
That boy's so cute.
Yeah. When he ran back to fight him, and then I like the fight with Killer Frost and her father and on the ice roads that they built, ice arches.
I rewatched like the first like 3 episodes when Barry tries to rebuild the Speed Force and he starts speed thinking, and Caitlin takes the velocity 10 and she starts speeding around. I was losing my shit.
Yeah. I guess everybody, well, not everybody, but Iris and Caitlin have had speed, but not Cisco, right? But Cisco has used flash time. They've all done flash time with Barry.
Yeah, that would be a really cool episode. If Cisco comes back on like the last like couple episodes, just to like as a finale for the series, I want him to like get speed because that would be dope.
He would be a good speedster.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because now that I'm thinking, if there's a whole family of speeding kids, if they're whatever, do you think that they're gonna give Iris like velocity 10 so the four of them are gonna fight at the end of the season?
Oh no, I'm honestly not gonna lie. I was really thinking Iris is gonna be pregnant by the end of this season. But if
Yeah.
they do give her velocity 10 so that she can fight, then she'll probably be pregnant like the very last scene of, or if not the very last scene of the last episode, then at least by the end of the episode of next season, first episode. I mean, I would actually love if she got velocity 10 because I like when she was a speedster too.
All right, we have been Thelma and Louise. This is our show about everything. And by everything, I mean the Flash and Loki, because those are the two things we've been talking about lately. See ya. What?
Thinking about how dirty my fingernails are, I need to clean them. I'll be right back.